You probably know my videos are about our true history, not the stuff you get taught in schools, because they are generally funded by big companies or corporations like the Rockefeller companies who don't want us to know. So anyway, I do my videos in an order, that's why they're all numbered. So if you watch them from video 1 onwards, it makes a lot more sense when you get to aliens, you know, little greys for example, and where they come into it and where spirits come into it compared to Egypt, etc. But if you just dive straight in and watch the Egypt video and I talk about spirits, you'll be like, wow, that's crazy. But if you watched it in order, it makes more sense. So to watch it in order, I've pinned videos 1, 2 and 3 at the top, just to give you a flavour of what it is, because I know it takes a while to scroll all the way to the very bottom. But once you are watching them, if you like, this isn't an advert for me just to get likes, but if you like it, then you can go back and carry on watching it from where it was. So then you can watch some more, stop, and then keep going back. As long as you like it, you'll know where you was watching. Over the next few videos, I'm going to say the differences between the Epic of Gilgamesh and other texts about Gilgamesh, and we'll see that some translations don't have it quite right, and others seem to go off on a tangent, and that's just me trying to show you that I don't believe absolutely everything. I do pick holes in things where it doesn't make sense. So Gilgamesh was king of Uruk, and if you look down the family line, this is the Anunnakis, etc. family line, and down the bottom there you've got Gilgamesh and Ninshurag's line, because she helped create this Enkidu, which was this creature that was from Gilgamesh's blood or DNA. So the first discrepancy is Enkidu's story. Now I'm just running out of time here, so I will carry it on the next video, but I will release both of these at the same time so you don't feel angry. So the first discrepancy of the Epic of Gilgamesh compared to other texts is the Epic of Gilgamesh says that Enkidu, which is a creation from Gilgamesh blood, DNA, and basically was created as a companion for him, the Enkidu was actually put when he was born in a field to live with wild animals, and if it wasn't for a series of absolute coincidences that ended up with Enkidu meeting Gilgamesh through third parties, etc., etc., it was obviously never meant to happen in the Epic of Gilgamesh, but it eventually did, and then obviously they became what they call brothers, because obviously it was part of DNA of him. So that's the first discrepancy compared to, and I'll explain because I've just run out of time, in the next video what other documentations say, and you'll see the difference. So the difference between Epic of Gilgamesh and, say, the Lost Book of Enki. The Lost Book of Enki has Enkidu, which we know was created from Gilgamesh, actually with Gilgamesh from the start as a companion to deliberately go on a long journey with him. Now, the reason why I say there's a discrepancy is because Ninshurag, in all her wisdom, wouldn't create a hybrid from DNA of Gilgamesh and then go and leave it in a wilderness to live with wild animals. I mean, what is the point of that? Whereas the Lost Book of Enki says that Enkidu was created to go with Gilgamesh, which makes more sense to me, instead of having a bother creating this creature and then just leaving it in the wild. To me that doesn't make sense. And there's a few other discrepancies as well, so I'll go through those in the following videos. The version of the Epic of Gilgamesh says that King Gilgamesh walked through a forest and it was absolutely pitch black for 7 leagues. Now a league back then was as far as you could walk in an hour, so 7 hours he continued to walk and said he could not see sunlight neither in front of him nor behind him, and eventually after the 7th league he could feel the wind on his face. Now if you're walking through a forest you can pretty much still feel the wind on your face, and during daylight, which is when he was walking, there is no chance, you'll still get some sunlight. Now the other version, which is Lost Book of Enki, says he was in a tunnel, subterranean tunnel, and walked for 7 leagues and couldn't see a thing until he got to the end and then felt the wind. Now that would make more sense to me, the tunnel, than the Epic of Gilgamesh saying in a forest. So you see there's another discrepancy there between the two. The Minotaur, was it real? Well, let's have a look. So in the Epic of Gilgamesh it talks about the bull of heaven being sent down from heaven, which we know is space, to attack Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Now, in all the stories, Enkidu actually did kill the bull, and for that was punished because it was Enlil's bull, half bull creature, and so Enkidu was punished to death. Now, in the lost book of Enki, the Minotaur, instead of being sent down, was actually guarding a secret passageway, tunnel, labyrinth that belonged to Enlil. And of course, when Gilgamesh and Enkidu came along, they killed the bull, and that's where we get the Minotaur from. Now, obviously, there's Greek mythology also has the Minotaur also guarding things, so you can see there's a possibility